Hey, we're back on mission number 13 of the Vergeev Group campaign. This time I'm going to use the auto startup sequence so that I can read the briefing, because this one's a bit complicated.
Now I'm requesting 233.
233 is here.
233, listen to me. Your job is not difficult yet loaded. We have to find the intruders. Probably they are many and heavily armed. A sufficient number of such groups is working in border area, but they need air backup. Radio codes shall be strictly complied with. No coordinates, dislocation, etc. Remember that the listening to us and such success heavily depends on what we broadcast. This rule applies from now on. You are already acquainted with group headquarters plan. I will remind you shortly. I hope you did not forget to order night vision from the ground. It's gonna come in handy to you. It's getting dark very fast in the mountains. No target illumination provided. Your first objective is to approach waypoint 3 and check the sector to waypoint 4. Sopka 1 is walking there already. You must verify that Sopka is alone there. Second objective. On the other side at waypoint 5, a strange movement was noticed. Take a look what our friends at Cipriani are doing. If they start firing, you are clear to open fire as well. Return fire multiplies. I don't hear you, 233. I'm no FM radio to you.
233 copies that. Now I'll check the sector waypoint 3 to waypoint 4. Oversee the other side at the waypoint 5 and report. Return fire mode, keeping to radio code.
Correct, 233. Naval continues. Right after, you will approach 6. This is a sector you know very well. Proceed up the hill along arc upstream to height 1675, Pichtove. Inspect the canyon. Sopka 2 shall be there. Be careful not to shoot at our guys. Assist them. They will not handle the task in nighttime without you. Report only when enemy discovered. In front of waypoint 6, overlook the western cutoff 1065.9. Hide. Cameron Depot. Look for installed machine guns and flak, in order to avoid the fire on return course. Remember, there was already one related case. After waypoint 6, you start primary objective. Sopka 3 and Sopka 4 and Warren groups are working there. They suppose that intruders are blocked at a Kipka hole at Glubokaya River, and they can't verify that. They ran into minefields. The guest mine approach avenues. Warren and Sopka have taken the whole perimeter under control. You must perambulate the perimeter and verify that nobody broke through. The bandits will not stay there for long. Then you fly over the hole. Examine it closely but with caution. Further on, you act according to instructions of mine. We will provide you with communication link to subdivisions when necessary. Do you copy 233?
233, inspection of arc upstream. Examine Cameron Mountain western slope after waypoint 6 to start primary objective operation in Agipka hole. Pass the perimeter and then forest itself. Ensure that no friendly troops are under fire. 233, over.
Affirmative, 233. Noble confirms. You got it right. Take off. The route is open. Over.
Okay, so I'm going to take that back. I'm not going to read the briefing because that one was extensive. I'm not even going to try to repeat it. I just wanted to give you an idea of what the written briefings are like, but I'll just do that on the next one, or one of the next ones anyway. So we need our NVG goggles, and you can see that I've got those loaded up, and you know, you have to adjust those things when you turn them on because they're way too bright, and you adjust them with this knob. See, there's 3 knobs here. This one on the left is your night vision. This one in the middle is your Schwal monitor, and this one is the contrast for the Schwal monitor. I also set these keys and lines here to black, which is this one right here, from black to white. And I turned on, I don't have any of the interior lights on except this purple light here, which is specifically for when you have night vision goggles on. So here's what it looks like without the night vision goggles on. It's kind of purpley blue. And so you know, it's worth it to spend a minute to tweak your settings of the night vision goggles, because, you know, it can really be hard to fly when you can't really, you know, everything's blown out if they're too high, basically. You know, so like those are too bright for me, so these 3 knobs back here, this is your night vision, this is the blue light, so I just turned it up. This is the light for your HSI, this right here, and a couple other things. I'm going to turn that down a bit. Actually, I don't even have that on, so no worries there. And then this one, this last one is your PVI 800, and let's see if I can turn that down a bit. You know, I'm using a cockpit mod, and these 3 lights back here, except for the night vision one, well, really, they work pretty good except for this last one. So we're just gonna have to deal with that. If you want to check I adjusted my Schwal brightness. See, without the goggles on, you know, it looks normal, right? Turn the goggles on, it's totally blown out. So you have to adjust that just enough so that you can see what your current waypoint is. You can see the highlighted line there. Let's see. Actually, that wasn't it. Let's see. So, turn this up a bit. Not sure what that... Oh, okay. Right, so the darker line is the course, is our course, what we're our planned flight path. And this is what confused me, this 18 up here. So when we come back from this mission, we have to go all the way out here for some reason, and then come back this way. So right now, our aircraft is pointed to our steer point, but we're actually supposed to take this flight path, this darker gray line. You're supposed to match those up, basically. So when we turn our night vision goggles on, and we turn this down a bit, you can see that our actual course is totally like invisible, but if you just look up a little bit, you can see, okay, I see where I am, and that's what you basically have to do. So let's just go ahead and take off. Let me just make sure I've got everything set here. My parking brake was on. And we'll just fly the waypoints and see what happens. But we're basically checking in again with the Voron groups. But there's been more border crossings and such, so for this first part of the mission, I'm going to just turn off my night vision because I like the look of it at night before it gets too dark. It will get really dark. We'll have to turn it on, but for now, we'll just do it the normal way. Again, I'm zooming all the way in so that I can definitely hit our steer point. And let's get moving here. Okay, I had that. No, I had that right. Never mind. Okay, here we go. So let's settle in around 200, and I'm going to enable my radar altimeter mode at about 50, let's say, 50 meters. I've still got the purple light on, but that's okay for now. You know, why we have to check in on all the way over here to the right at this border post, I'm not sure, except that it's just another opportunity to screw up. Sometimes you have to go there, even though our mission's way over that way, and sometimes you don't. Turn master arm on. Pretty sure I turned off all my exterior lights. You definitely don't want to. Okay, we're coming up on it here. Definitely don't want to have any exterior lights on, because that gives away your position. And the AI definitely takes that in consideration. It's easier for them to spot you.
Waypoints 2 here.
Make sure we don't cross the border. Go to our friendly radio tower over here that tries to kill us. So I'm not going to be using route mode at all on this one, just because there's too many waypoints. They come quickly, and you really need to be in complete control along this border. So as you can see, I'm not following where the green line is telling me. I'm not pointed towards my steer point, because I know that water, that border, you know, jumps over right here. You know, it was going along this way, and then it hops over here. If you get over in that little bit there, like the green line was telling us to, you would have been shot down. Now we can steer more towards where we're supposed to be going. Let's see. I'm a little bit off center. I'm trying to get our yaw straightened out. You want to have that ball inside those two lines when it's, certainly when it's not windy anyway. You want to keep it that way. I haven't actually figured out. It just seems so unnatural if you try to keep it in there when it's really windy, because you're like, sometimes you're pointed like 90 degrees in the wrong direction. So I'm not sure. Some people think that's a bug, but I have a sneaking suspicion it's not. And that's the way things go, but but where I've read about flying helicopters, you know, you're supposed to have that ball centered pretty much at all times. And if you're finding that you can't turn, especially after something happens, like you're just been fighting or something, and you're like, man, I can't even turn, the rudder's like having no effect. Well, it's probably because you accidentally trimmed it and you had that rudder all the way in one direction or the other, your rudder pedals. And so if you've trimmed it to have it all the way to the right, you know, you're not going to be able to go further right. So you'll have to come off of it to the left and then retrim, and then you'll have some freedom of motion. I mean, you can sit here and chase trying to center that ball all day long because the conditions change, but we'll leave it there for a second and see how that goes. Okay, I gotta check in with my first group here.
On waypoint 3, proceeding with the task.
233, Naval, be attentive. Sopka 1 should be there.
233, fully alert.
Naval, over.
Sopka, not Voron. These guys are all called Sopka. Sopka 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, you have to be low, like I'd say under 50 meters to see these guys. There they are. Hit this waypoint up here.
Closing waypoint 4. All is clear. Heading towards waypoint 5.
Now we're gonna get into some heat. I'm pretty sure. Got to be careful again with the border. We're basically headed right for it, and we take a turn to the left at the last minute, second, moment. So I'm taking it a little slow.
If they start firing, give them a pair of shots in response and make
Shit.
your way further on. Do not expose yourself to fire. Maneuver actively. Report when ready. Over.
Yeah, we got exposed to fire just then and took a hit, but I could go back and kill those guys, but maybe we'll do that on the way back, because she told us not to loiter around and to get going. I'm going to disengage my altitude hold just so I know exactly where my collective is at all times. Otherwise, you know, the autopilot systems could be changing it 20% either way, as we've noted in other missions, and when it's kind of tense like this, I just like to know exactly where all my controls, where they are in terms of their ranges and their settings. So I don't know, it's a comfort thing. I think we've got another group coming up here. It is pretty windy out. It's kind of hard to hit these waypoints. There we go. Getting pretty dark, but I'm going to keep off the night vision for a little bit longer.
Naval, this is 233. 7 armed people around the edge. Seems like patrolling the area, heading towards waypoint 6. Do you copy, Naval?
Naval, copy that. 233. Over.
In the briefing, we're told to go ahead and check out this stream, go all the way to the top, and we've got a group up there. You know, obviously when you get into these tight spaces and there's a wind factor, you just have to constantly be checking your speed, your altitude, your direction. You have to have your head on a swivel the whole time, just to be constantly checking everything, or you'll wind up in one of these walls. And remember, you know, we're gaining altitude all the time when we're back here, or descending, because it's constantly either elevating or going down, and that changes the performance of the engine. Okay, there's Sopka 2. Let's hit this steer point up here. You know, I've almost got it maxed out here, and I'm only doing 150 knots.
Upstream inspected. All clear.
233, this is Naval. Before switching to waypoint 8, make sure you examine 1065.9 height. Over.
Alright, so now we've got to go back down here and check out that height, that elevation, where there's some AAA, which I think we saw once before. And you know, when you read the briefing, it tells you about these elevations you're supposed to check out. And you can cross-reference with the Schwal if you use your rangefinder and hit the side of this mountain right ahead of us, and then look down on your Abris. You can get an elevation. But I happen to know exactly where they are because I've flown this so much. So again, the wind's at your back and it's trying to push you across the border, and when you come to a hover here and start engaging this AAA, you really need to make sure. If there's one thing I've learned after all of this testing, is that it's worth it taking the time to stabilize your hover, because you can think it's stabilized and it's not, and it can cause you so much frustration. You just really need to get it right the first time, no matter how long it takes, and then you're going to be good to go. And again, we want to be on barometric. Definitely want to be on barometric altitude hold. I'm going to turn to target. And now we're going to have to boost the brightness big time on this Schwal monitor and the contrast. Where are we here? If you hit 0 on the number pad key, it resets the Schwal to bore sight. Wow, we gotta turn up the brightness here. Might have to turn on our night vision, we'll see. Nope. Turn on our laser. Okay. And where are these suckers? Is there one right there? No. I think there's one over here. Or not. Oh yeah, I remember exactly where these are, obviously. Can't even find one. There's one. Turn on our gun. Now, on the gun, look at where our diamond is here. And this is our range where if this arrow comes off this block of this rectangle of dark black, you know, it's gonna miss. So we need to retrim a little bit so that gets centered before we start firing. So I'm gonna put in left rudder, retrim, let go of the left rudder, and now we've got a nice range left and right when we start firing. Looks like our range is way off. You know, see how those are falling short? And because it's so high, I'm going to pull back on the stick a little bit to give us a little angle. Boom. Got it. And let's see if we can find, I think there's one other one over here. See that triangle? I call it a triangle. Right here. Kind of. It looks like a triangle. On the bottom here of this triangle, I thought that there was one. So that's kind of hard to see. Let's see. Contrast. Okay, maybe not. So let's just motor on here. I'm going to turn off that, turn the brightness down because that is distracting me. Turn off our laser. Turn off our gun. Turn off hover mode. Turn off altitude hold. And let's go to the next waypoint. This next one's just right on that border, so again, always got to be aware. You don't want to get pushed over there. I think there's even more AAA around here, so we're just gonna haul ass through here. So, one of the soap groups has surrounded a group of border crossers, for lack of a better term, and it's up here in that patch of green. See that forest right there? They're like dead in the center of that. Or maybe it's around the corner up to the right. We'll see here in a second. But we have to wait and observe and sort of, guard that group until Sudar, which is a flight of fast movers, Su-25s that are going to come in and bomb them. Alright, hit that one. I think this is the last one coming up, and then we'll start going around that forest in a circle. You'll see on the Abris, the map. See? Goes around this patch right there. There's 3 and 4. And then we at each like four locations around that circle, around that patch. Try not to fly across the border here. That's key. There's groups surrounding those guys. So our Sopka groups are surrounding the center of the patch, and we need to check in with, I think there's 4 of them that surround it at each one of our waypoints up here, and they can be kind of tricky to find.
Waypoint 11 open. 2-3 in the zone. Approaching the perimeter. Engaging into primary objective.
So most of this flying I've been doing, I've just had the trimmer held in the entire time, unless I've got a little bit of stretch like this one. I went ahead and let go, and it's going to try to maintain this heading until I need to turn for the following waypoint. So they're down in there somewhere, and one of our groups is up here. The key here is to stay on the flight plan, or you might miss a group. There's Voron 2. Okay, so Sopka were the ones up to this point, and then Voron 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4 surrounding the perimeter. So we got Voron 2. We still need to hit our steer point though before we search for the next group. The collective's maxed out at this point. Just a slow climb. Well, a fast climb, I guess. All right. I think I need to recalibrate my monitor. It's way too bright. usually you have to have your night vision goggles on here, but I'm not going to re-record it. So if it's, you know, just as soon as you need to turn them on, turn them on. You know, so obviously they're going to be on the perimeter, so you don't have to be down below 50 meters or maybe 100 meters until you're at the perimeter. There's Voron 3.
233, open waypoint 13. Continue operation on the perimeter.
233, Naval, watch around so that our search units are not endangered.
233, affirmative, look around, proceeding.
Naval, roger that. After you pass waypoint 15, pass over the hole, look from above. If you get under fire, return to waypoint 15. Take up a position and work with squall. Shoot only on dead certainty.
233, copy that, Naval. Break into perimeter. If under fire, return to 15s and work from there.
Naval, confirming 233. Stay on waypoint 15 all the time. Let the infantry walk. If the guest will come upon you, open the fire. If you define the target with squall, open the fire too. But don't leave 15s. Otherwise, you can fall under friendly fire. Over.
There's Voron 4. We're hitting waypoint 14, and so 15 is this one coming up next, and we're going to come to a hover on 15 and wait for the fast movers to come in. You know, you've been going up this whole time around the perimeter of this area, and it just feels weird. It's really easy to be going way too fast to hit this next one because you have to come to a hover on it. And to, you know, it's easy to fly right across into, you know, Georgia, and it's really easy to go into a vortex ring state like I almost just did. Okay, there's Voron 1.
They are in the very hole, hardly seen, keeping low profile. It would be good to tickle them with machine gun. We tried to attack them, but all approaches are laid out with mines and troop wires. We requested Sudars. The mines will detonate when we strike.
Naval to all, attention. Sudar is approaching the zone. All must exit the perimeter and keep strictly to their positions.
Okay, so we're just gonna
This is Sudar. We're on approach. 2 minutes to sharp turn. Get your earplugs into the ears.
get the earplugs, he said. So we're just gonna get into a nice stable hover here and watch the show. I like watching it without the night vision on, but whatever it takes, whichever you prefer, whatever's, depends on how dark your monitor is. Okay, that's annoying. That's our radar warning. Receive altitude set 100, and we're at 100.
Starting the target run. 2 minutes to strike. All remain in their seats according to ticket numbers.
So I'm going to turn that down. All remain in your seats according to your ticket numbers. These guys,
Voron, accurate shooting from those bastards. Voron requesting Naval.
Hear you well, Warren. Naval is here.
Naval, we need to set up an evacuation. We have got triple 100 here. Sniper job. A couple of hundred are really bad. We need a copter. If we try to descend with them, we'll have a pair of 200s at Soul River. One of the 100 can move on his own. How do you read that, Naval?
Wait, Warren. You will get the support. Over.
so it looks like some of our guys are, we've got some casualties that need to be taken out. I think I can hear Sudar, the Su-25's coming in.
Naval to all. all. Non-identified target is quickly moving in your direction from Georgian side. Everybody on your guard.
Yeah, they make it really tense. I hate to ruin it for you, but you can pretty much ignore that. At least in my experience. By the way, sometimes it helps when your night vision is on to flip up your filters here, this little thing. See this lever? And also when the sun's in your eyes, that can help. I've never even seen these helicopters that they're talking about. You definitely want to stay out of that area up there because they get pretty close. Sometimes their bombs stray a little bit. I definitely need to recalibrate my monitor because it's just way too bright, so I'm just going back to normal lighting conditions. Come on, Sudar. Maybe we can catch these guys on the external camera. Oops, nope. Pretty sure they come in from this direction. You know, occasionally, if I remember correctly, sometimes this bomb run doesn't happen. And I never really figured out why it happens sometimes and why it doesn't happen other times. But it looks like we got screwed and it's not happening. But basically, you know, you're gonna wait for that bomb hit and then you're gonna RTB and you're gonna come across more AAA on the way back, and you probably should take those guys out, or you can hop behind the mountains over here and just get out of their fire. And
Naval to Warren. Listen, Warren. The capture has just left the runway in your direction. It's bingo. So arrange everything fast and provide the cover. Take all 100s to waypoint 12. Pick up there. No smokes. In 20 minutes.
Roger that. No smokes. Controls waiting.
okay, so the transport helicopter, probably an Mi-8, is coming to pick these guys up, and sometimes you'll pass them on the return route, but the bomb run should definitely have happened by now. So I'm going to call it quits on this one, and at least that'll leave a little bit of a surprise for those of you who haven't flown this one yet, and we'll see you in number 14. Oh wait, I hear something. Wow, they were way off. Way off. Lucky we didn't get hit. So I'll try to sort that that bug out and update the gold version with it, and I'll see what I can do about that. So that was a pretty lame show. I want a refund. See you guys next time.